the Brick Flick joins me now as he gets ready to fight for the LFA Flyweight title on July the 24th when he meets Greg Fischer. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. First of all, I got to get this right out of the way. I absolutely love your nickname, Jimmy the Brick. I'm a huge movie buff, and that literally sounds like something out of like a mobster's movie. How did you get that nickname?
Oh, man, I love the nickname, too. Not only does it flow with my name, Jimmy the Brick Flick, I've been in the sport for a long time, and over time, I've came really good at everything I do, and the name came because I'm solid all over like a brick. Everybody always thinks I got bricks for my hands, which I think I do, but I got a lot of submission, so that really doesn't solidify the nickname. But my game's solid all over, just like a brick, and that's how I got my nickname.
Oh, I love it, man. It would be so cool someday to see you maybe like walk out to the cage in like a full like suit looking like a mobster or whatever, Jimmy the Brick coming to the cage. That would be awesome. But I digress. Listen, you had a big performance. Your last win was for the FCF Flyweight title, round one win over Jesse Bazzi, man. Tell me, overall, how impressed are you with your victory there over a tough guy?
Oh, man, a guy like Bazzi, and not only did I beat him, I finished him. And I finished him in the first round. He was coming off of a loss to UFC vet Eric Shelton, where he went to a decision and put up a really good fight. So the guy was no joke. I respect him, though, because he did take the fight on short notice because we had a fallout. He came in and he wanted that strap just as bad as I did, but I had to go out there and make a point because 2020 is going to be my year.
Yeah, and that fight was at 125 pounds. The fight prior to that was at 135 pounds, and you did lose that fight to Ray Rodriguez. Tell me, what did you learn from that setback there? Was it something where you felt, maybe I'm better suited at 125, and that's why you dropped down?
Well, the UFC had been going back and forth with their flyweight division, and we weren't for sure after I fought Jamison Saudito September 29th of 2018. I believe it was, or 2019. No, it was 2018. I fought Jamison Saudito, and I beat him at 125. And 2 weeks later, they called me to fight CJ Hamilton, which is the #1 guy in Texas right now. So we took that fight against CJ Hamilton on short notice, and we went in there and choked out CJ Hamilton. And that same weekend is the same week that UFC was talking about cutting the flyweight division. I wanted to stay active. I had a lot of momentum going. Ray Rodriguez said he wanted to fight. I wanted to stay active, so we brought him to my hometown to fight for the 135 title, live on UFC Fight Pass in the main event. Had a good first round. Second round came out. Just Ray came, put it on me, and he was a lot stronger than me at 135. If you check me out at 125, I'm hard to finish. I've only been finished by UFC vet Will Campuzano, and that was my first loss at 125. He's technically the only person that's beat me when I've weighed in at 125 pounds. And right now with the flyweight division, that's where I plan to stay. Hopefully Benavidez and his opponent make weight next time, and they keep that flyweight division open.
Yeah, no doubt. What's that weight cut for you to get down to 25?
I cut close to 20 pounds, but I walk around 143, 145. So 135, it's so easy for me to make. I can make 135 today. Like if UFC called right now and was like, hey, can you make weight tomorrow? Yes, I'll be on weight. 125, I only need a couple more days and I can make it happen. I've been wrestling my whole life. I've been cutting weight since I was like 7. So I never thought I'd be still cutting weight 20 years later. But here we are.
Yes, sir. Here we are. Tell me, man, you're taking a little break from work right now to join me. What do you do for a 9-to-5 job?
Actually, I work in the plastic industry. Right now, we've really been busy because of the coronavirus. So we deal with plexiglass. We've been making all the shields. I cut the shields. I run a forklift. My job's very supportive of me. They sponsor me. They allow me to take time off for training. I leave early when I got to. I get here early to be able to leave early. They let me get late if I need to. I really love my job, Tulsa Plastics. I've been here for over 4 years, and they've been on this journey with me and really support me, and I can't thank them enough.
That's fantastic that you have a job that does that for you. Tell me, how has the pandemic affected you? Clearly, you're still at work and you're doing your thing there, but as far as your family goes and your day-to-day life, training routine, how has it affected you?
It really slowed me down for a little bit. Coming off that win off of Bazzi, I had a lot of momentum coming off of that finish, and I wanted to keep it rolling. I turned around and signed I didn't sign the contract. I had a verbal agreement to fight Sidney Bice, which is the #1 ranked guy in the U.S. right now that's outside of the UFC. And I was going to fight him for the LFA Flyweight title April 17th up in South Dakota. And then the pandemic stopped that, and the event never happened. I never even got the contract, but it was verbally agreed on. So it set me back there. I got 2 little girls and I got a wife. They've been stuck at home. My dad's going to work, and I come home, got my own little gym. So I've been training, putting in the work. I got big sponsors, Harvest Health, the Plug 918, and Midwest Extract. They've been paying me monthly throughout this whole pandemic to keep me in the gym, to keep me training and doing everything I need to do just in case I got that call on short notice.
Yeah, and I've seen some pictures on social media of your wife and your 2 little girls. Beautiful family, man. So congratulations there. How do you juggle, the timing with your work and your training and family time? How do you find time for it all?
Man, honestly, I don't think there's enough time in the day. I don't know how I do it. I don't know how my wife puts up with it. And she's just so supportive. We've been together over 9 years, married for 8 years. So we've been in this long run for a long time, and she knows how close I am. My girls are very supportive. My 8-year-old got to go to my fight last time. That's the first time she got to watch me fight live. I've never been so nervous in my life until I walk out and see my 8-year-old cage side watching me fight. There was no way I was losing that fight. So they really motivate me. They really push me. And if it wasn't for my wife and my family, I wouldn't be able to pursue this career.
What did your 8-year-old say to you after that fight? Was she excited to see what Daddy does there?
Oh, yes. She was very excited. They let her come in the cage, take pictures, hold the belt. It was amazing. It's a moment I'll never forget. I've been on this thing. I had a long journey in MMA. I started in 2009 as an amateur. We're in 2020 now, so 11 years. And this win right here is what I'm hoping is going to get me my shot at the UFC.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because really LFA is the premier, regional promotion outside of, the UFC, Bellator, the top dogs. LFA, is on UFC Fight Pass. It's huge. So you're fighting for a title right now. What does a win do for you? Do you feel like it's going to get you a shot at Contender Series, or maybe just a contract into the UFC outright?
Yes, I'm hoping to go win that flyweight title and call out the previous champ, Brandon Royval, who just took out number 10 Tim Elliott in the UFC. I was supposed to have that fight when Brandon fought and won for the title. It was verbally agreed on. They called me. I was right off the couch. I accepted the fight, kept asking for the contract, Next thing I know, he took a fight against Jared Scoggins. And then Jared Scoggins pulled out a week before the fight. And then they wanted to call me and ask me to take it on a week's notice. I told them I'd like to reschedule it. I wasn't going to take it on a week's notice because prior to that, I accepted it 4 weeks out right off the couch. And I don't know what happened, if they said no to me or if they just liked the other matchup better. So I was so close to already having that fight with Brandon, and that's the fight I want. That's why I want to go win this LFA title, call out the last LFA champ, and he's ranked in the UFC. I've been doing so much hard work for all this, and the time is now. I'm also rallying right now to try to get on the Tuesday Night Contender show. There's a guy that's going to be on there named Nate Smith. He's 6-0. I think he's got a padded record, and he's just got a good management company, and he's got a good streak going. So he's getting his shot on the Tuesday Night Contender. I had my manager email Sean Shelby, and look, I'm ready, man. If you need an opponent for him, call me. We're ready to go.
Tell me, how do the fights between Brandon and Nate end if you end up fighting them here in the near future? How do you get your hand raised?
I choke them all out, man. It doesn't matter. But if you go look back at my kickboxing fight that's on UFC Fight Pass, the highlight reel's got over 2,000 views. I've been with Coach Leo over at Forza Combat. For a long time in my career, I did not work my striking. That was always my biggest flaw. That's why we're solid all over. We're the brick, baby. So I worked on my striking. I got 22,000 views on my highlight reel. I fought Matt Murphy. Matt Murphy he's a game opponent. If you look him up, he went to a decision with Johnny Bedford and bare knuckle. The guy is fought all over the world. He's got 40 boxing fights. He's got 20 MMA fights. He might not have a winning record, but the guy's tough. So I had a kickboxing fight against him, and I really showed how good my kickboxing is. And until people can stop me from taking them down, then I'm just take them down and choke them out. But when they make me stand, we'll stand, and everybody will see how good my stand-up is too.
You know, I was going to ask you too, because I watched a previous interview with Ray Rodriguez, and he didn't seem to show a lot of respect for your stand-up. He felt like he'd be able to just run right through you in that regard of the MMA game. How do you feel like you've evolved since then? Because that was just 2 fights ago. Do you feel like you're much better on the feet now versus then?
Oh, yes, most definitely. After that fight, prior to that fight, I maybe only hit mitts 2 to 3 times, and that was with just a buddy or at the gym with other training partners. Now I have Coach Leo over at Forza Combat. I work mitts for an hour twice a week with him, work with his Muay Thai guys, and that's all he is a Muay Thai coach. I have Thomas Longacre for my jiu-jitsu over at Thunder Kick Fitness. I have CrossFit Sand Springs that jumped on board to help me with my strength and conditioning. So now I have everybody on board. I have all my sponsors on board, making sure I can afford everything outside of work, not having to spend my own money. So there's a new version of me coming out. I had to show it my kickboxing fight. I was supposed to fight MMA that night, had multiple opponents pull out at flyweight. I've had that happen my whole career at flyweight. A lot of guys don't want to fight me, man. I'm a big flyweight, but I'm not a big bantamweight. So that's kind of where my career has went up and down with the flyweight and the bantamweight division. But if we can stay at flyweight, we're going to make a run. We're going to stay at flyweight, and we're going to prove that we're the #1 flyweight in the U.S.
Tell me, have you had a guy or two in particular that you've been getting a lot of work in with, sparring-wise, for this camp?
Yes, my main training partner has always been Jarrell Wilson and Micah Stockton. Jarrell Wilson's a lot bigger, but he's a kickboxing world champ. And like everybody knows, that's my weakness. I got 5 losses, and 4 of them are by knockout. It's killed or be killed when I fight. So now that I've been working on my stand-up with Leo and working with Jarrell as much as I can, him being a big 155er and knowing how to push me and not beat me up and really hurt me and make me work. And Micah Stockton, he's a 125er. He's been in the sport for 15 years, got 20 pro fights, and he's a grinder. He helps me, he pushes me, and we're the same weight. So I get to feel with somebody the same way, but I get to feel with somebody that's bigger as well. So I'm more than ready for this fight to go and prove every aspect of what I've been working.
So the LFA matchup, this title fight, it's not that far in the future, a couple weeks away now. How far away is the venue from where you are? Are you going to be driving there, or are you flying?
With the pandemic, they won't let me drive. I am 9 hours away. I did prefer to drive. I like to drive and have my vehicle up there to be able to make the runs that I need to. But with this virus, they are going to be chauffeuring us around. They're going to make us all fly in. We're going to get tested when we're going to get there. There's going to be no fans, So I'm excited, man. It's a different part of the journey. But to get me to the UFC, I'm going to be more than ready with all aspects.
How do you feel like fighting in front of no fans will affect you inside the cage? Do you think it'll benefit you or hurt you? I mean, I know a lot of fighters get really amped up by the noise of the crowd. Will that make a difference at this point in your career?
I don't think so. Growing up my whole life, I've wrestled. So we've been in the wrestling room in the gauntlet, one-on-one, and the coach killing us. No fans, nobody cheering us on, grinding it out in there since I was a kid. So I feel like I'm going to go in there. I'm going to have that same kind of feeling. And I'm just ready, man. I hope he strives off the crowd. And if the crowd ain't there, hopefully it makes a difference. Greg hasn't fought in over a year. And his last fight is at 135. So I hope he's ready. I know he's a nutritionist, so he should be healthy. He should be on point. And I'm ready to go put a show on.
Tell me, what do you think of his skill set? How do you guys match up? What kind of stylistic fight are we going to see come fight night?
We both look like grapplers, so maybe we'll keep it standing. That seems to happen a lot with fighters when they're both grapplers. Greg's really done really good at keeping a lot of his stuff off of social media and YouTube. Can't really find a lot of current stuff on him. I never even heard of the guy prior to getting the contract. When they sent me the contract, I just signed it and sent it back. I didn't care who it was. I treat it like the UFC. If the UFC sends a contract, I'm just signing it and sending it back. I don't care who it is.
So clearly you're very well versed on the ground. That's where you shine. But you're telling me that your stand-up is very much improved here. How do you get your hand raised and win this LFA belt? Is it a decision? Is it a knockout? Is it a sub? Give me your prediction.
Oh, it's a finish, guaranteed. I only finish. That's all I do. I got 3 decisions out of 18 pro fights. I do not like going to the scorecards. Too many judges in this sport, I feel like, don't know exactly what they're looking for. I have 1 decision loss on my record. It's on UFC Fight Pass for King of the Cage, and I fought Tim Sosa. I took him down, took his back in every round, got beat up a little bit in the process, but no way he did what I did, and I lost by unanimous decision. Ever since that fight right there, I've never been to the scorecards, and I don't plan on going to the scorecards. If I do, I'm going to do everything in my power to dominate. As a professional MMA fighter, I've never been taken down. I have been put on my back from people defending takedowns, like Johnny Bedford defended my takedown and I pulled guard, and the same thing with Levi Miles. But I'm past that in my career now. I've worked on my stand-up since then. I've got with my striking coach. I'm ready to defend the takedown. I'm ready to throw bombs. I'm ready to dominate in every position possible to make a statement for this fight.
Man, I love your confidence. I cannot wait for this fight. I for sure will be tuning in to UFC Fight Pass to watch this LFA title fight. There's no doubt about that. Listen, I really appreciate you taking the time to join me here today. Anyone you want to thank or any social media you'd like to plug? The floor is yours.
Yes, if you can, please follow me at thebrickmma.com. You just type in www.thebrickmma.com. I got that patented thanks to my buddy Spider Gray over at Texas Fighting for helping me get that. So we locked that down. Anytime you type that in, it takes you right to my fan page. I got over 2,500 followers. I'm doing the best I can to do giveaways, get my name out there. You can follow me on Twitter. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors. I'll make it quick. Shout out to Seth from Keller Williams, Realty, Core Hog, Harvest Health, The Plug 918, Midwest Extract, Evolved Health, Ryan and Rose Roofing, Broadway Barber, Simpson's Truck Line, Big L, Keystone Chevrolet, still wanting a car from y'all, Keystone, All Britain Plumbing, Tulsa Plastics, Code Zero Customs, HKA USA, they hooked me up with all my gear, CrossFit Sand Springs, Forza Combat, Thunderkick Fitness, Tulsa Sport Acupuncture, got to get that acupuncture in before the fights, The Office on Main, Fighting for Autism. I'm official ambassador for Fighting for Autism. I love supporting them. Primary Colors Retro Relics, Blue Line Signs, Micah Stockton, my New York life agent. I just thank y'all all. Without y'all support, I wouldn't be able to go do all this.